We are joined by Lyu Xiang. He's a Chinese researcher on U.S.-China relations. Thanks so much for joining us. The U.S. and China seem to have areas where they worked together during the Obama administration, but also areas of friction, as we know. The biggest area where President Xi and Obama seemed to be really in sync was on climate change. That's not likely with this new administration. Where do you see this relationship going?
You mentioned the collaboration between U.S. and China on the global issues like climate change, but I think now it's up to the U.S. side. We have seen some signals that the current U.S. Government is going to abandon much of its commitments on the issues like climate change.
Also, as Nathan King was just pointing out, President Xi at Davos, more of a global view, and you see Trump with more of an insular kind of view, America first. How does that, talk to me about the relationship. How does that bode for future talks between these two great powers?
Actually, our Chancellor Yang Jiechi has paid a productive visit to the White House. I think for these two global countries, we will have a lot to do. We know that the Trump administration is focusing on reviving U.S. economy, and in this regard, I think both China and the U.S. can work together in many areas, and among them, I think in regard to the energy industry and the infrastructure building, in these two regards, our two countries have a lot of to do.
Are there any concerns, though? Some of the people that he's put around him, Peter Navarro comes to mind, of course, the head of the new White House National Trade Council. He made this inflammatory film, Death by China, blaming China for a lot of the loss of jobs here in the United States. He said in the past the best jobs program is trade reform with China. With Navarro as a key advisor, how much trouble do you see ahead when it comes to these two countries working together?
I think for our two countries, neither should continue its blaming game. Actually, we have to see the benefits of trade relations of our two parties, not to blame the other side. Actually, in the past 20 or 30 years, we have heard a lot of things blaming the other side. It's not appropriate. And for the Trump administration, China is very clear. We are open to all kinds of negotiations on trade, and we are open to all kinds of cooperation in the future.
When do you think we can expect to see a meeting between these two leaders?
You mean the meeting of the two leaders in the future?
President Xi and President Trump. When do you think it's likely the two of them will get together and have a meeting?
I don't know, but I think the G20 summit in Germany might be the best opportunity for the two leaders to meet.
On the sidelines there. Where do you see this relationship going? Do you think there's going to be some frictions ahead?
The two leaders had a phone call, a very productive one, and I think that has set up the political principle or political foundation for the two countries to go further. So I am, especially with Chancellor Yang's visit to the White House, I expect I am more optimistic on the relations. Although there are still some uncertainties, but generally I'm optimistic.
That's good to hear. Lyu Xiang joining us from Beijing.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your analysis.
Yes, thank you very much.